Let's go ahead and go live. Okay, for people joining this live stream, we are in a period of intense design reviews for version 12.3. And right now we are about to look at geography. Okay, so the big thing is having vector rendering. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, great. What does that mean?
Let's see. So, so this is something that is related to probably the X kernel, and we are changing this thing. So, the main topic right now is to to fix everything that will make that is preventing to make vector the default result in geographics. And so what we wanted to show here, and I can do two things. Either I send you another notebook with these evaluated, or I share myself and show the results.
Can you send me another notebook?
Yes, I'll do that in a moment. Francisco, can you explain what's going on here?
Actually, you know what? Why don't you share? Are you ready to share?
I'm totally ready. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. You go ahead and share.
Yep. Okay. So yes. So these are the new labels that we are making now to follow the lines. And
so how does it decide where to put a label relative to the extent of a street?
Yes. So what we have initially is the line, say the street, and the text. And what we do here is simply to find a place of the street which is flat enough, and then take the center and distribute the letters, the individual letters, these are individual text objects, around that point. And so it's selected.
Hold on, let me understand. Because one of these streets, into how many pieces is a street typically shattered?
That depends on the data, and the data we have actually breaks the lines in too many pieces. That's the truth. For example, in a case like this, it may be happening that the street is broken here, and so that's why it's not selecting this point. And then there is the selection of the piece of the street that is better, and then there is also the collision algorithm. So once we place a label, we cannot place another one that will collide with it, or a distance. There is a safety distance around it.
Okay. And what about that label down there on the green?
This one.
That thing, yeah.
Yes. So this is following this line, but there is no instruction to avoid the line.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this is following a line that is centered on the streets. Actually, these streets, I mean, this is not the street. These are the borders of these yellowish lines. Yellowish area, sorry. So it just.
I see.
So yeah, and these are also labels, so we cannot let the arrows collide with the strings.
Right. But so what are we doing with respect to these fragmented streets, so to speak?
There is nothing we can do.
But well, we have this algorithm that also tries to merge.
Francisco, you're hard to hear.
Let me fix this. Sorry.
Well, let me know when you're.
Is it better?
Not really. No, you sound like you're in a cave, but we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Now that we have a step where we try to merge all the lines that share the same name and the same features. So there is a step trying to do that before placing all these names.
But presumably we do that level of the tile generation.
No, not yet, because we are not controlling that process yet.
Okay, but we will do that, right? Because we don't want to be doing the merging at the time when we're doing rendering, right? I mean, the rendering needs to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, okay, so this comes in tiles. So what we do is across the boundaries of the tiles, we do join things in real time, because the the boundaries are very well defined, and that's a fast process.
Okay.
So, for example, if we have polygons, merging polygons is important because when we do projections, etc., we don't want these intermediate, these flat lines to give the impression that you have two different things there. But within the tile, we just follow what the data.
Okay. Question. I mean,
Yeah.
as we zoom,
Mhm.
we're going to gain and lose labels, correct?
Yes, indeed.
And in dynamic geographics, you'll see that happening. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So we have 3 examples here. This is a small example of a map. So this is a medium example in which you have more labels, and it's easier to see how they follow the roads. It looks quite nice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And we have a larger example here, which is, yeah.
Okay.
It looks really nice. And we chose this city because it has the coast and the mountains, and everything makes the appearance of
Right.
many curved. For example, this is quite impressive. And you see how here is being able to select the flattest area, part of the curve.
Oh, the mountain road.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, for my general knowledge, what is the thing? Is that a lake that Monaco is on?
This is the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
Oh.
Mediterranean.
Oh, okay. It's down. Okay. I'm very confused by where all these
It's
things
just
are.
next to Nice,
Oh, okay.
next door, basically. An hour.
Okay.
Right. And yep. So this works well, but I mean, these at the moment we are fighting time here because this involves about 1,000 individual text objects, and so at the very end there is the preparation and rendering. So that adds about a second.
Ouch.
So we are now, improving that time.
So what takes the time there? I mean, presumably we can cache those objects at when we're doing final rendering. Well, go ahead. I don't know what.
So there are 2 parts here. One is the what we were explaining before, the collision algorithm, the computation of the box of each letter. Part of that can be cached, etc. And then there is the fact that at the very end we give 1,000 text objects to graphics, and graphics have a.
Okay, so that's up to Brett, and then the question is, how does that get faster, that rendering process? Is Brett here?
Yes. and that is what we've been looking at, and
Okay.
how to get it down from 1,000 to a smaller number by doing multi-forms. And
I mean, ultimately, I'm guessing we're gonna need a text path. Okay, so that you don't send them individually, but there is a notion of curved text as a primitive.
Yes. I think you should talk to the front end team about that.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody like Jutsu could work on that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I checked, a couple of weeks ago after, we had our last meeting about this, and it isn't the case that, that's not a built-in thing in
we know
different drawing layers we use, which.
Right, I know. So we'll have to ask people.
Yep.
I think this is the sort of thing that is more important in geo than in other areas like dynamic geographics or geolayering. So I mean, it's something that will appear first in geo and then eventually will extend to more general.
Yeah, we'll have other places where we could certainly make use of that. So Jose, I don't remember the exact details or where we're at on this. So how much of that computation is image size dependent? Or are we scaling? Right, I mean, so like you have image size goes to 1,000 there, and if it was 500 instead.
Yeah, we can check. I mean, it will produce less labels, so it will be a bit faster. Okay, it was quite fast this time.
Yeah, it was quite fast. Okay, go to image size 1,500.
1,500. Okay.
By the way, for users who resize a graphic, okay, it's still not a particularly dense area here.
But it has quite a lot of buildings.
Well, and it also has the zoom level hard coded in that input. So.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
Yes.
it does.
Probably if I remove this, well, like what will it do? Monaco has only a point, so this is going to show a very large area. Yeah.
Oh, let's see it.
Oh goodness, what's
Sorry, Jose.
that's new. Okay, let's show the area first. Yeah, so this is showing Monaco. I don't know what happened there.
By the way, why are those mountains so linear? Why are we not Beziering them or something? Or is that? I mean, it's probably a bad idea to do that. But mountains are looking worse here than they usually do.
Yeah, I think this is this combination of using non-natural. Right, so they are prepared to be shown like this.
I see.
The fact that we were showing it very large makes it.
Okay, so here's a question for users, right? So in the cloud, what one's used to is if you resize a graphic, it goes back to the server and gets new data, right? But here we're not doing that. You see what I'm saying? And I assume that with non-dynamic geographics, there's no way. I mean, the graphic is what it is. But I think users have to be told that, so to speak. And I do think that there should be some kind of, I mean, in a luxury world, some kind of attached cell or something. I mean, there's not a lot you can do, right? I mean, once the graphic has been generated, it's just a bunch of lines. You don't know where it comes from.
Right.
I wonder how we can do this. I mean, I wonder whether, at the very least, we can have an informational raft or something that so people don't get totally confused about, oh, why is this such a lousy map? I just generated a tiny map and then blew it up. I mean, they presumably understand that from images, but I wouldn't count on, this is a bit confusing, that you can get different labeling if you go for a different image size. Do you get what I'm saying? The question is, what can we do about that?
Is there any way of intercepting this thing and forcing another map?
Possibly there is. We should look at that.
I mean, that's part of what dynamic geographics does is when you resize a dynamic geographic, it isn't
I know.
It doesn't scale. It's
I know,
extending the range.
The question is there any way that we can at least signal that in in ordinary geographics?
Yeah.
Have a think about it. Let's make sure it's in the user assistance meeting agenda.
Okay.
Right. So Jose, if you go back to where you were zoomed in on Monaco a bit and had labels following roads and whatever, what happens when you manually resize in that case?
I see. So we had, I think it was this, and image size was that. So this case, you mean I resize here?
Yeah, so you manually take it down to like 500.
I see.
The texts.
Yes, they don't rescale the letters, so they stay the same size, so they collide with each other.
That's bad.
Well, we have this option of scaling the letters. This method vector maps scale fonts true.
Let's see. What was the name of that, Francisco?
Vector map scale font. Yep.
Scale font?
No, font scaling, sorry.
Font scale. Like that.
Yes, true or automatic would work. Yep.
Okay. So now I do larger, for example. Yes, so the text
go smaller.
Yeah.
Now go smaller. Well, this is a win. I don't know if it's a win. Is it a win?
I mean, I think it's more likely that you're going to, start out at the default size and then drag it larger.
In which case, you don't necessarily want the things to scale up.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we won't, because sometimes the letters get too separated. So if we start this small, this looks nice. If we don't do this, the letters get separated. Let's try this.
That doesn't look bad. What's wrong with that? They're not getting separated there.
I mean, look at the space between each of the letters.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
look
see.
at that
And
curvy road.
Okay, so the problem is with curvy roads.
Yeah.
Well, that
I mean,
seems like
even
a
the
separate
straight
problem.
ones are,
Well,
I see, but the pure labels are looking fine. It's just the roads go on wrong.
right.
Because the
point
labels
are
look good.
fine.
yeah, because each letter is preserving its position in the road.
Yeah, I understand.
There's no recomputation.
I mean, that means we need a text path. That's the only way to solve that problem.
Yeah.
So you need to talk to people about that. But in terms of what to do here, look, I mean, I do think the scaling thing of letters is something that would be relevant for other graphics as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we might want a general option saying, I don't know, text scaling or something, arrow true or false.
Right, and we have a theme that does it. That enables scalable text. For the visualization functions.
Let's see. But I think we want to say text scaling. I mean, why don't we just have a general option which says text scaling arrow true or false? That just determines whether it will generate. So it will always generate at the image size that you ask for, right? But then the question is, does it generate text that will be set to be scalable or not? Maybe allow text scaling. I don't know. Text scaling, arrow true or false. What do you think, Brett?
If the front end team magically implements it, I think it's great.
It's not for them to do. It's for you to do. All it is that's a question of how you define when you create text. How does it work? Please look at it and talk to the front end team about it.
So the way that it would be done is you would change the font size from whatever it normally is.
I know, to a scaled dynamic thing. So that's for you on generation.
It would be just a scaled font size.
Okay, fine. So that's for you to do, right? That's for you to do on graphics generation. So what I'm saying,
no, but that information comes from the style sheets.
All right, figure out how to do this, okay?
Fine.
So I don't know where. I'm assuming that in the end, I see. You're saying the font size comes from the style sheet. All right. Well, you need to figure out the plumbing of this.
Yeah.
Because maybe what happens is that the way it works is there's two different styles in the style sheet. One for scaled
That's what
text,
I was just thinking, that we
and one for
layer in
text.
a scaled one on top.
Right. And then that would just work. Then what you would do is generate that style. Now the only difficulty with that is backward compatibility, which I mean,
it won't be a problem backward compatibility wise, I don't think.
Why not? I mean, if you generate a style that's called text scaled, and then somebody tries to render that graphic in an older version, what's going to happen?
It's not going to find any, styles. It's not going to find a style by that name, and it's going to ignore it.
Okay, it's going to go to the default, which will probably be okay.
Right. It'll fall back to non-scaled text.
Right. various people are pointing out here on our live stream that having an explicit way to change the label sizes in maps seems like a good idea. But I'm not, in other words, to define the scaling. I mean, if we called it text scaling, and then we had automatic, none, or an actual number, 1.7 or something, 1.7 would mean scale everything up by a factor 1.7 from whatever you thought it was supposed to be. Am I making sense?
And that would be a direct option to geographics, or we have some geolabel?
No, direct option to geographics, graphics, bunch of, well, maybe not graphics, but eventually graphics, but certainly plot and things like that. So in other words, if you say text scaling arrow 2, it'll just make a plot that has bigger, bigger labels.
Which
I think this is a good idea.
Now, but just setting label style goes to whatever.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm just saying it's a bank switch mechanism for doing this. I think it's a good idea.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't disagree that that's useful functionality, but I mean, I think the other thing that we've discussed is sort of exposing, generally what the styling information is, I mean, and possibly the text and labels are, special and important enough that they get their own thing, regardless of
Yes,
whatever we come up with for
because they're the
how
thing.
wide roads are.
I think we should, yes, because I think it's a thing that affects, labels. Labels are the sort of, just like the quality of a video is often judged by its audio, the quality of these things is often judged by its labels. If I'm making sense.
Right.
Yeah. We certainly are putting effort into the labels.
Okay, question. The Mediterranean is probably labeled far off somewhere in Malta or something, but we don't know what it is here.
No, that's in the data. That's something.
But I don't. I mean, do you understand my point?
Yes. So what Francisco is saying is that the data has points where it recommends to put the labels, and so there could be one here suddenly. For example, it's like the rivers. Rivers have points where you should put the name of the river.
Okay.
Do a map of Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, mainly because that's the one where I can remember where the label shows up.
Okay. This. Let's move this to. Let's leave that. Oops, sorry.
Actually, that's artificially small, right? Because of the fact that it inherited the graphics size, so you can make it bigger. Why won't? Okay, I don't know why it's so small. Why is it so small?
I mean, our default for maps are usually not very large. I mean, we can. It's just that we are playing here with abnormally large sizes. So
can you increase the geo range just a bit?
Yes, the normal size is about 400.
I want to see Lake Michigan. Maybe we should increase the default image size for maps. If they're going to look this beautiful, I think we should.
Geo range. What should I put here, Brett?
Where's Lake Michigan labeled?
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to find.
Exactly. So let's put I don't know,
like the Loch Ness Monster or something. I mean, it's like
20 miles.
20 miles. Yeah.
Okay, so in other words,
okay,
wait, but what's that?
It's there.
It's appearing. It's appearing.
I was going to say.
And what's that? What's that white?
So those are probably boundaries of states.
Right. So there we start to get a little bit of the Lake Michigan.
Although it's yeah, okay.
Okay, 35.
I'm just thinking, along with Null Island, right? We can have all the, people in the, going on recreational boats in Lake Michigan can try and, find where OSM has its L. Never mind. I'm just being silly. Somebody could arrange. It'd be kind of amusing, actually. Somebody could arrange some recreational boats to just spell out Lake Michigan.
Mhm.
Never mind.
So I think these are the state boundaries.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, but so what you're saying is there are default anchor points for those labels in bodies of water, and presumably also in national parks and who knows what else, other polygonal kinds of things.
Right. And I think like Michigan, there's like a little curve that runs the length of the lake down the middle. That is where it wants to put the label for that.
Oh boy.
Right. For lakes in this data, they add lines for the names, so you can put them.
All right. So look, this is a future luxury. Why is I see O'Hare Airport there? Why is O'Hare Airport blank? Up, an oasis. Why is that blank? Is that because of a rendering issue with
You mean this is it this area?
I
Yeah.
think so.
That should be O'Hare.
Mhm.
I mean, if you zoom in, it might actually show individual runways or something.
No, I'm sure it would, but I'm asking the reason I'm bringing this up is I don't know where we're getting all the styling from for these tiles, but it feels like maybe there are tile styles missing, like a runway style wasn't added in, and that's why there's nothing there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, something we are not showing right now is points of interest. So the name, at least, for example, I think would appear if we do that. It's choice of styles.
But airports are not point of interest. They are traffic names, so they should be appearing.
I see. Okay, you're right.
So if you go to like a 5 mile geo range,
Around.
maybe 10.
O'Hare, just say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. O'Hare Airport.
More or less. It probably will work. Try it. It has an apostrophe in it. Oh, there we go. Okay. 5 miles.
5 miles. Yep.
Are these tiles on the CDN?
Yes, they are.
So that actual download speed. Okay. Magnificent.
That is quite detailed.
Yeah, I expected it would be. Boy, the prevailing winds must be very prevailing around there. Maybe. Look, all the runways are lined up.
Nice.
I guess the Chicago Windy City is windy only in one direction.
I mean,
Coming
everything
from
comes
the
from the
lake.
west.
Yeah.
I wonder if in the other map it's blank because it's actually Zoom 9 data, and I'm not sure if we have the airport lanes at that Zoom.
Okay, but it's a bit goofy. I'm just pointing that out. I mean, there'll be a big tail of these kinds of issues, right? And we kind of need, what is our QA mechanism for these maps and noticing stuff like this? That's the silence. I mean, surely we have some map nerds who could be pressed into service for doing some QA on this.
I think we report things as we find them, and users also report to us things like this city has slightly wrong geopositions and
right,
things.
But I suggest that we identify some actual map enthusiasts, and basically what we should do. I mean, QA. Stefan probably needs to be involved in this, and I don't know how we validate these things. Like, for instance, at the very least, we could get some of these maps and somebody could just circle. I mean, well, we could get a bitmap and we could do bitmap comparisons, but we need to check that things aren't dropping out and stuff like that. And, that there isn't goofy stuff going on. The okay, so comment. Okay, there's a question. Okay, there's several questions here that are kind of interesting. So one question is, I mean, we also have geo-elevation data, but that's a different base map, right? So if you wanted to show bathymetry data in Lake Michigan, that would be a different, so you would say, what would you say? Instead of geo background is vector marketing, which I can't stand the name of, and we need to come up with a better name. We need to avoid, this name marketing is not going to make it. I mean, we need to come up with a geo bright or some such other thing.
But we were following the names from the themes, by the way.
I know that.
Yes.
I know that. But
He
they
doesn't
probably
like the
have
theme
to be
name
changed.
either.
I think they need to be changed. I think it was an amusing idea, but I think we should change it. And I think, I don't know what some name like Bright, for example. Okay, so that's the relief map. Okay, and that can't be combined with can it be combined with the street map or not? And with the vector street map, for example?
Not at the moment. So that's why we need a layering mechanism. So for example, we should have a way of having some sort of geo layer, and you put inside, in this case, it would be the polygon of the US with geostyling relief map and this other case. And then we can click somewhere and select one or the other.
Right.
Or have for example, I've seen some places in which there is a slider and you say, give me 40% of one, 60% of the other one. And you can go from one to the other. That's very nice.
Right. Okay, that's the number of comments on the live stream I want to address here. Ethan is asking, can one tilt the thing to get 3D pictures of buildings? Sorry, no. I mean, does OSM have any of the 3D building data in it yet?
It has heights, yes.
Yes.
It does.
Wow.
Yes. So for example, in cities like Paris, we have been playing with the Eiffel Tower. They have some very rough sketch of the structure of the Eiffel Tower. And then for most of the buildings, they just have a height.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a coming attraction. Okay.
Indeed.
The next let's see. A font scaling option, various people commenting, yes, I agree. Ethan is saying, nice to provide an explicit list of entities that you want to label or not label. Yes, I mean, I think that's part of the whole, okay, what is the mechanism? Both for coloring, like if I want to highlight bodies of water, for example, all those little micro lakes, which I didn't even know existed in Chicago there. If I wanted to make those all pink, for example, how would I do that?
So at the moment we cannot do that. The style is hardwired, but eventually we want to do something I think like Anatomy Plot 3D does, which is specify a type of object, and then you say the style you want for that object.
Can you remind me how Anatomy 3D works?
Well,
you can say that you want all muscles to be purple, or you can say that you want, a specific, your left femur or something to be blue.
The style, but how do you could you go back up to the details section there?
Yes.
It takes an association. Okay.
Yeah, we have got to change business and marketing. They're stupid. Really, it doesn't work anymore. Brett.
Okay.
But I'm trying to find one of these cases in which it says muscle. So there is a type.
But it should be in the documentation. So can we look, please?
That's what he's looking for.
No, in the documentation. That's not in the examples. In the documentation, that's where we document things. Okay, I'm not seeing it here. So there's a problem with this documentation, Brett.
Okay.
If it's in the examples, it doesn't count.
Well, no, scroll back up, Jose.
Back up.
I want to see the top notes.
Yep.
The top.
Right, so it's in anatomy styling.
Here.
I see. Okay, click on anatomy styling. Let's see anatomy styling.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it.
Okay, so hold on. What classes does it support? Do you understand what I'm asking? Open the
Yes.
details. Open the details.
So we would have to go to this entity domain.
Okay. Okay, so the geo case of this, do we in fact have an entity type that is a type of geographic object? We should have that.
Right. Eventually, yes, we should. Not yet.
Okay, I understand. So that will include, airports and lakes and rivers and parks and so on, right?
Exactly.
And how will that work hierarchically? That is, if it's a park, it might be a national park or it might be a state park, whatever. Does it deal with the hierarchy of that? What is in the original data set? Do you understand my question?
Yes,
right.
yes.
And that's kind of problematic right now in the sense that, for example, buildings don't have the same data at all the zooms. So when you zoom out, for example, they have less data than when you zoom in. So they include more tagging information when you zoom in.
Well, they have more. Oh, they have more tags.
Yes,
that's weird. Well, that's not. I mean, that's a hack somebody must have put in there. Okay.
Maybe I don't know, to make them lighter. I don't know, but yes, we can look into that. So to see what can we get.
Okay, let's see. Someone was complaining here. Jarek was complaining about layout of a river name on the Chicago map. Can we look at that for a second? And are rivers done the same way as streets are done?
Well, rivers are more complicated.
Yeah, well,
because
look down by Joliet. What's happening to that?
Yes, this one, yes. So we follow strictly the river. So if there is a part of the river that goes down, so we are planning to do some better interpolation here. So right now we are doing some sort of interpolation of order 1. So this needs a smoother interpolation to have a smoother line.
But those, what are they called? The bendy, the thing that old Albert Einstein wrote a paper about once about the meandering of rivers, where it eventually breaks off into an oxbow lake. Right? Mm-hmm. If that happens a lot, I mean, unlike a road, which has a predilection for straightness, a river has a predilection for meanderingness.
Right. Yeah.
So what do we do about that? And what do we do when it's doubly connected? For example, it goes both ways around an island in the middle.
Well, if there are two labels that try to cross, one is going to eliminate the other one because there is a collision algorithm.
I understand that, but I'm asking the question. Whereas a road, it is reasonable to look for a straight piece of a road. For a river, there are, a river as it evolves, so to speak, will become increasingly meandering and eventually will break off, right, and have islands in the middle.
But those are different lines anyway for this data.
Okay, I see. But nevertheless, when it's meandering, it's going to mess up the letters. So what is,
yes.
I mean, and for example, for a street, it's preferable to have the thing follow the street. But for a river, labeling it over the island makes perfect sense. Am I making sense?
Yes, and we have been playing with different things. Another problem with the rivers is that the style is by default italic. So when we are dealing with individual letters, they look like they are too much rotated. And another thing, we have been trying a method in which rather than dealing with individual letters, we deal with individual words. So at least within a word, everything is aligned. And that looks a bit better.
Maybe you can show that in this map, for example.
Yeah, remind me again of what was the name of the...
I mean, look, I can see the Fox River up to the north there. Also looks terrible.
So this was Francisco vector map, geo label. I don't remember the name.
Yes, I'm copying that. So wait a minute.
Copying that in the chat.
Okay.
Label split method. Yes. Sorry.
Label split method. Yes, and we had mixed here. So mixed meant sometimes it's letter, sometimes it's word.
Right. Mix will try words for the italic.
No, I mean, perhaps without geo here.
Yes, without geo. Yes. Sorry.
All right, let's take a look at those rivers. Okay, well, that looks a lot better. I mean, it's messing up the spacing between the words. The DuPage River, right, is camel cased there. See what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. So
I mean, it probably needs to have explicit, somehow the spaces need to be recognized, but other than that, it looks a lot better. And I would suggest that that will be the default for rivers.
Yeah, so this is okay, so here we have,
we gave up on the rivers.
Exactly, in this particular one. So this would put
in many names, yes.
the whole thing straight. It's just an orientation angle, but it's the whole text. For example, here we see this one.
Okay. Let's go on for some other things. Sandra's commenting, thought about day-night versions of maps. That's a good idea. Certainly, many GPSs do that. Brett, I think that will be for you.
Okay, it's part of a themey sort of thing.
Yep.
So this one looks very much like night. So if we compare
a little bit like night. I mean, it's not really like night. You should.
Well, but you don't want really like night.
I don't know. You should look at what people have done. Okay. Well, honestly, I think the other one looks a lot better. We've got work to do on the default themes here, Brett. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, that default theme really doesn't look very good. I think it isn't in modern times. It's not what people expect to see on a map, that kind of cream color.
Right. Anyway, we have not chosen any default style yet for vector.
Okay, fine. Well, we need to work on that. And yes, that's nice that's vector. I mean, it's just very uncolorful. You know, only the rod cells are working. This needs work, right? And we should, yeah. Okay. Okay. OSM renderers also approximate building heights from number of floors. Okay. All right. Let's keep going, Jose.
Right. Okay. So let's have a look at the other things quickly. So something we are also doing right now.
Sorry, by the way, I'm just trying to remember something. If you want a scale shown on the map, if you want a thing that marks 10 miles, et cetera, there's an option for doing that, right?
Yes.
So geoscale bar.
Exactly.
Although it occurs to me, Jose, that it might need to
go vector.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, it is vector. I mean, but it needs to probably know what the background is a bit more.
Right.
Because it's showing up there all in black at the moment.
And that's hopeless. Yeah, I see it, but it's hopeless. Hopeless. Yeah. Right. So that's another to-do list item.
But by the way, we are also running the collision algorithm with the scale bar, so labels don't collide with it.
Really? Cool.
Yes.
Right. That's nice. Okay, but by the way, I mean, so clearly what we need to work towards, and we need to work on the design for this, is for all these different features. Do you include them? Do you not include them? Those kinds of things, right? In other words, streets, airports, et cetera. I mean, that's part of, yeah, anyway, you get it. I also think if I wanted to label a particular road, if I wanted to highlight a particular road and label it, even if it was a small road, that's something eventually I'm going to want to do. Just like in anatomy, you might want to label some particular tiny anatomical feature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on. Right. This is lovely, but let's.
Okay, so these other things are more technical, and these are also things we need to fix or improve for handling of vector primitives. So
should I go back to my version, or is it all going to be broken?
Well, this part actually is not even in the X kernel yet.
Okay,
so,
all right, fine.
So, I mean, that's why I sent you everything already evaluated. So, okay. So the idea here is to have better control on the bounds of things. So not only faster, so it's like 5 times faster, but also you see the difference here. This makes hundreds of kilometers of difference, right? Because there is now some sort of adaptive discretization where it matters of the geoprimitives. And this is
oh, wait a minute. If I say, you're saying if I say geobounds of a country that has squiggly borders, that this will somehow go and figure out, as it tries to find the bound, it will try and look at the subdivided border to find the actual, what is the north-south extent, including that little proboscis that is very thin. Is that correct?
Right. So I mean, for countries in which the boundaries are already quite well discretized, I mean, there are small segments, this is not going to make much difference. But for cases in which we have a geopath which is very long, and so we actually go and implement there some discretization, this is going to subdivide better, and then it will be not.
That's nice. I mean, I don't know how this works for regions, because there also you could imagine some region that is some kind of Julius set or something with some tentacle, or Mandelbrot set with a tentacle hanging out. And how does it find that? How does it know?
I think, well, Roger can explain better, but I think with regions, you have a parameter to specify the discreteness. While in Geo, we do all these things automatically. And so what I'm trying to do is just to do better.
I mean, it depends on what kind of region you have. Often we can get it exactly. If it's a mesh region, then we have it. There's nothing more to do. If it's something that's continuous and we just now add in Bezier and B-spline and stuff, then yes, it needs to, a finer discretization to get it tighter.
Okay. All right, let's keep going. We've got to rush through these. Okay,
right, so then this is another important thing, which is right now there are horrible errors, and I chose a especially bad case here. And so we are moving into something better.
Magnificent.
Yeah. So
what about for other planets? Does it correctly do the texture?
Well, for other planets, we don't have primitives. So we never had this type of problem with images, because images, each pixel is independent. So this is a problem of globality of vector primitives, right? The fact that we have to cut, and sometimes they don't cut at the proper place, etc.
Oh, it's beautiful. So Antarctica?
And yes, so this handles all those cases better.
So there's no hole at the center of there's no cut line in Antarctica now.
Well, the line of Antarctica is in the polygon originally. It's not that we cut it, so that's a bit more difficult to solve. I don't have the.
You mean Antarctica has a branch cut effectively because of the coordinate singularity?
Yes, and that's in the data. So we would have to go and actually do surgery in the data. If we removed it from the data, the new algorithms would be able to handle that.
We probably should do it. It's an unfortunate case. I mean, arguably it should be changed in the data. I mean, where's? Go ahead.
Right, we can do that now with the new GeoPolygon, because with the regular polygons,
let's do it. It's embarrassing. Somebody's going to go looking for it's like searching for the Northwest Passage or something. They're searching for the line through Antarctica.
Right, we will need, actually we will need both versions, because anyway, previous version of Wolfram language cannot handle GeoPolygon.
Right, and it's used in alpha. I mean,
yes,
perhaps the polygon
so
there.
We might need both versions at the same time. But yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, but anyway, I think we should fix Antarctica before somebody searches for what would it be? I don't know, is it a north-south cut? I don't know where it is, but anyway. Okay, so convert filled objects into GeoPolygons.
I was gonna say, it pretty much has to be a north-south cut.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing, there is this new utility which is able to take our current object expressed until now with field curves with the holes. So this would be Eurasia, and this is the Caspian Sea, and this is some big lake in Netherlands. And so now this tool is able to take the quota-milli points and quickly create the single geopolygon that describes exactly the same thing. So eventually we want to move from this type of description to this type of description. And,
Okay.
Right, and this is just.
Are we providing user level functions or WFR functions for doing that polygon combination?
Not at the moment, but this tool, I mean, I don't think this tool should be exposed in system, but it can be certainly a WFR function.
Fine, let's do it.
And then finally, another thing that I showed this to you in some ILD meeting long ago, and you didn't like the idea. So it right now is it's an internal utility. So the idea here is that sometimes you want things in a different longitude determination. So for example, we give Russia with longitudes between -180 and 180. So this part here, I think it's called Kamchatka, it's on the other side. So
I understand.
if we tell this function can move any geo object to be in the longitude determination you want. And so it would put it there now. But now the longitudes are going from that to that. Right? So geographics doesn't care. And all of the geofunctionality is able to handle that. But sometimes
if I say area, for example, if I say perimeter, will the Kamchatka, whatever it is, peninsula, be correctly perimetered or something? In other words, if I say in that first case,
right. So if you have this, and you say geo area of Russia, so that gives that. And this one, I'm not sure I have the correct branch here. Sorry. Let's try, but I may not. No, sorry, I don't have. But if I take this polygon directly, and I say geo area, it will give the same.
Okay. So you're saying that this is merely a coordinate. A choice of coordinates. This is not.
Exactly. It is one of these things in which users have to sometimes go and manually insert modes and things like that. So it's just a way of simplifying.
Well, we probably should package this somehow. I'm just not sure. It's not the world's most common issue.
It's not. I mean, it appears sometimes. For example, astronomers like to work from 0 to 360, and in older times they wanted to have negative longitudes, and so sometimes they do this transformation. So
okay, so it's a mod like
this occur in Bodhi plot too, where you want to see the phase curves with negative phase basically, and not jump. It has to continue.
I see.
And so there's a special algorithm in that plot function to create the continuous phase.
Okay. I mean, this is,
and that's what you need in complex analysis too, when you want argument variation.
So do we have that in the complex plots, something analogous to that you slide around the phase? In other words,
we don't actually.
Maybe we should. Maybe we need that. Yeah. So because that's the question of where the discontinuity in colors for the phases.
Yeah.
Another case that appears frequently is that you have a line that goes round and round the Earth several times. So it jumps every time it goes through the data line, say. So this function could have a value here, continuous or something, that aligns. And so now you have longitudes always
increasing. What's that, for satellite orbits or what?
For example, loxodromes that go around the Earth multiple times. Let's see, what could I do? Geographics. So if I say
with countries, there are not so many empires where the sun never sets anymore. So it's less.
No, but you can spiral around the Earth.
Exactly. So if I go start with that, and I say loxodrome. So, sorry, it's Geo Range. Oh, what am I doing wrong here?
20,000 what?
20,000 miles. You want?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is this.
You want to add a lot of zeros. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I was thinking in kilometers. So let's put this as bigger. angle, and this.
What the heck is happening?
So this is clearer in yeah. So this is just going around the Earth. It's spiraling. So what should I do here? Geo projection. Let's use Lambert azimuth and centering. I'm going
North
to
Pole.
choose the North Pole. I'm hoping this will be clearer. Right. So this is spiraling, right? So
Okay.
if this goes multiple times around, so let's put here 80, and let's increase this to 60, right? So this is going to increase in longitude multiple times, right? So
okay.
if users may have a representation in which longitude jumps continuously from minus 180 to plus 180, or vice versa, and they may want the other one in which longitude keeps increasing. So this function will be able to change.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So hold on. So basically, this is a normalization, like a mod type normalization in this coordinate system, but it's analogous to what we'd have to do in the complex in the, it's a little bit different because this is taking this data. I suspect that we want, and we're not going to figure it out right now, we want an option for these geo things. It feels a bit like geovariant.
I mean,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wanted a solution
to the coordinate system.
Right. We need something that doesn't have to be inserted into everything.
No, I understand. I see.
Because,
so basically, it's a geo coordinate system or something. You're saying, or geo longitude, because it's only affected. Does it only affect longitude, or could you do it with latitude as well?
No, latitude is not periodic, so there is no need for this in latitude.
Okay.
It's only longitude. But my point is that if you have a list of objects and there are geodisks, for example, with a center, etc., you want to change all of them at once.
No, I understand that. So, I mean, it's basically geo longitude system, arrow something or other.
Mm-hmm.
Separate discussion. Let's have that in a separate meeting.
Okay.
And let's there's a couple of comments and questions on live stream. Okay. It's a comment about, fortunately, countries don't have fractal borders. Otherwise, it would be expensive to put border fences and things. Yeah, well, I mean, most countries, the borders are defined by contracts, basically. They're defined by, like surveyor type things, this distance from this river to this thing, to that thing, and so on. It's an interesting use case for computational contracts to be able to take that specification and actually convert it to points on the Earth. Comment about posting material before these meetings. Good luck. I suspect it's not. These meetings are real time. Comment from Takashwa about continents. Okay, so this is something we have not, which I hope is coming, Francisco, is historical country borders, which we obviously have the data for. And that's something that now we are in a position to actually put in here, like to say dated, France, 1650 or something. Is that correct?
Yes, we have the historical countries, but I think the question is more about the continents. So that's like the.
No, I understand. I'm asking a question here.
Yes.
The historical countries. When will we be able to say dated of France, 1650, and have it render in this whole geographic system?
That's already working. Yes.
I think that works.
Polygon of dated blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Dated France, you said? So let's.
I mean, just do or that, or the Roman Empire or something.
Let's play dangerously and see if we have data for France in what 1650 you said.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure we have France for that year.
Okay.
There was no France, but yes.
Okay.
Right.
Try
19 something, or yes.
After the French Revolution or something. I don't know. 1850. Try 1850. No. Why is this not working?
So,
I'm not sure if it's working. Well, maybe you need the historical country of France.
oh, yes, exactly. So,
But yes, we were hooking up them to also the countries.
so let's go to Roman Empire.
Well, in
So,
1850, it's good luck.
Exactly. So let's say, yeah, 100.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, magnificent. But that's now the old, okay, so but with vector maps, you'll be able to do this as well, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean, the vector map just affects the background.
exactly.
Okay, so the polygon is a vector thing anyway.
Right.
Vector classic.
He doesn't like classic.
Okay, so what can we use here?
That's nice. But so now what if I want the labeling based on ancient Rome?
Oh, look,
Right,
I
we
have to
have not
go.
added that.
What's that? Do we have any of that data? Do we have the city data?
No, we don't have historical city yet. Yeah.
Have we looked at that a number of years ago. We looked at getting that, right?
Yes, what we added at some point was founding, so dates of when this city was settled, etc. For
Right, but that doesn't tell us that, Carthage, for example, will not appear because it disappeared, so to speak.
right. Yes, we could try to filter which cities that are currently now were on
That exist today existed
Yes.
at some time in the past, even though Constantinople changed its name and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the bigger issue is you like zoom in and you're going to start getting modern roads with.
Yeah, I mean, there is data. I know Christopher has data on Roman roads. We should at some point make this actually work. Now the question is continents. We have the data in Wolfram Alpha on continents, right? Do we have it here? If you say minus 100 million years, I don't think we have it yet.
No, we have the ability. I mean, we have the polygons in some Padlet. In geographics, we have some examples of that. What could it be?
Yes, we had some geological times.
Yeah, here. So if we download specifically the polygon, then it does work.
Okay, but it would be nice to get that to work in general.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean as another background, right?
Yeah,
I would think so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, look, if we get that and somebody asks for dated minus 100 million years. Okay. It's a question from Dan here, or Dane, about your timing. How do you get that little timing footer in the notebook?
This one?
Yeah.
It's some...
option inspector.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So it's something in the option inspector.
The option name is evaluation completion actions, and you set it to like show timing or something.
That's nice. Okay, somebody was asking, Takashwa was asking if you can convert from WGS84 to WGS72. Absolutely, we can do all of those lovely geodetic computations. Yep. How do you do that conversion? It's a geo.
So before moving, there is also now this nice thing, which I use quite a lot. You just do that, and now every operation will be timed.
Oh, I see.
That's quite useful.
That is nice. Is it documented in echo timing?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And now it's not.
Okay. All right. We should wrap this up. Okay. One more thing here.
Yes, you were asking about datum conversions.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's possible to say, I don't know, lat long or 40, 30, 40. Here we say WSG 72 or something like that. And then this will change to some other one. Geo position W.
WGS84.
W.
I want to see how different they are.
No, not much. Good. So we need to have the data, and we don't have it for all of them. Sorry. It's.
What do you mean?
Oh, sorry. Let's see. Yes. Sorry. Yes. So there are several WSGS84s, so we need to say which one. And so you see it changes a little bit.
Oh, this is an interesting thing. So Jari is commenting that the border survey, Russia-Finland border survey, 7,000 pages long, that apparently its coordinates are defined on coordinates tied to the Eurasian continental plate. That is an interesting problem. Happened to a friend of mine many years ago, bought a house which was across the San Andreas Fault, and then an earthquake happened, and the lot changed size and shape.
Right. So this is the question of datums that change with time, which is becoming very important. For example, for Australia, they have a datum from 20 years ago, and it has changed like 2 meters. And so they are working on a new one.
Plate motion or what?
Plate motion around Australia is like 70 centimeters per year.
I had no idea.
It's
Where's
quite
Australia
a lot.
going?
There are maps. I think it's going northeast, but
Okay.
there are maps of the change. Yes.
No idea.
And so they are working, and the US is also working on new datum. The North American datum 2020 was called, but I think it's delayed a few years.
I see.
And
okay.
all these new datums change with time because of plate tectonics.
Right. Interesting. Okay. All right. We should wrap this meeting up.
I was prepared here just in case you wanted an example of this. So this is an example of
oh, spectacular.
Of the speed up of a multiplication of 1,000 numbers.
Spectacular. The question is the support for a round in in broader support in the system for a round.
Well, I think once it behaves much better in this direction, then it will be easier to support in other places.
Okay. Do we have a map of where it needs to be supported?
Not yet, but we should construct it. Yeah.
Right. That's a good LCC project. Oh, that's funny. Sandra is commenting, geodistance of dated Sydney, 2020, Sydney. Does that work?
Goodness. Let's see. Geo.
No,
I was going to say define word.
It's not going to work yet.
No. But we want to add data support to geodistance and such functions eventually. So yes, that's
right.
2020. Sorry. Yes. I was thinking of something in the past.
Right.
No. There is no. We don't have the information for that future datum yet. Yes. No.
Right. Sounds good. Okay. Terrific stuff. Thanks a lot. Thanks to folks on the live stream. Okay, Ethan is commenting, many Caribbean islands are moving quickly towards Africa. Interesting. All right, okay. We'll see you all later. And for folks who are following our live streams, we have another live stream at the top of the next hour. Talk to you all soon.
A lot of the same people.